Morning guys, welcome to my channel. This is Philosophy. Thanks for joining me today. Today's video is going to be about investing and how to invest to get to early retirement, financial independence, retire early. Let's get into it. So in today's video, I'm going to go through what I invest in myself to reach FIRE at age 50. And my whole goal is not really to actually retire from work, but by 50, I'd like to be completely financially independent so that I can do whatever I want with my time, whether that be retire or work somewhere else or do something on my own, like my own business. So first I'm going to chat about some of the things that I invested in previously that I no longer invest in. And that is mainly GICs, which are guaranteed investment certificates. The reason why I invested in GICs was because I was saving up for a house down payment and I knew I needed that money in roughly a year or two. So GICs are investments that you get through your bank and they're usually for a set amount of time. The ones that I had invested in were for 18-month periods and it guarantees your rate of return. So the rate of return that I was getting was a little over 2%. That's not great, but it was a lot better than the 0.5% that I was getting on my regular TFSA account. And I know that there are like tons of banks in the States where you get way more than that just on a high interest savings account, but in Canada, it's not really the same. So this year I did purchase a condominium and I had spent the money that I had in GICs for that long period of time because that's what I was saving it for. Once that purchase had gone through and it was done, I decided it was time for me to actually start investing in the market long term, specifically in index funds. So I had begun researching on a website called CanadianCouchPotato.com. And on that website, he has model portfolios that you can go into and basically just copy what he has in those portfolios. So I decided to go with the TDE series model portfolio. That included a split between 3 different index funds that were the US, the Canada, and the international markets, and a bond fund for Canadians. When I started investing, I did have 10% of my portfolio in the bond fund, but I have decided recently that I don't really have any reason to be in a bond fund. I'm currently 29 and I think my money would do a little bit better in the market in an index fund that trades stocks instead of bonds. I find my risk tolerance is getting a little bit stronger and I'm more willing to put money in the market because I have about 20 years of that investment money to grow. So I'm going to go through both of my accounts, which is my TFSA and my RRSP, and just work through what I actually invest in those accounts and what totals I have in those currently. So in my TFSA, I currently have about $35,000. Most of that is in cash right now because I'm actually in the process of buying a second property as an investment property. And I have about $2,000 in shares with a company called Cielo Waste Solutions. Their company code is CMC if you're interested. They came to me through my spouse's father. So my spouse's father is really big in investing, especially with individual stocks and penny stocks. And he got into this about, a year ago when the stock was trading at about 10 cents a share. And I think he put like $90,000 into it. Anyway, this share went up to about $1.82 within the last month. And he essentially retired on that money. He'd already had a pretty big portfolio, but getting into this stock when it was really low and putting in quite a bit of cash meant that he could retire quite a bit earlier. It just inspired me to sort of get into it because it is gambling, essentially, when you're buying a individual stock like this. I put in about $1,000 to begin with, and then as it went up and down, I decided to throw a little bit more in. So I currently have about 4,000 shares in this stock, and it's trading at a little over $1 a share. I think a lot of people in this community invest in things like Bitcoin or GME, which is the hot stock right now, GameStop. If you don't know about GameStop and all the crazy shit that's been going on, you must be living under a rock because it's fucking everywhere. In my RSP is where I have my split of the TDE series through the Canadian Couch Potato portfolio that I spoke about a bit earlier. And these are 3 different funds, and I'll just go through what the names are and how much I have in each one. So I have about $42,000 in my RRSP, and it is invested equally split between these 3 stocks. The first one is TDB 900. That is the Canadian Index Fund. The second one is TDB 902, and that is the US Index Fund. The third one is TDB 911, which is the International Index Fund. All three of these have been doing quite well since I started investing in them, and overall I think they're up about 10%. The money that I have in these investments is money that I'm never really going to touch until retirement. So this money is going to be sitting there for at least 20 years. So earlier I mentioned that I was in the process of buying a second property. And this is going to be an investment property similar to the one that I own at the moment. When I had first started looking for a property, I was looking for a detached home, but I was priced out pretty quickly. So I decided to buy a 2-bedroom condo in downtown Calgary that I hope to make a investment property at some point in the future. Also, with the second property that I'm looking at purchasing right now is going to be a place that my mom can stay for the next little while. She's been out of work for quite some time, and I wanted to share some of my wealth with her. Now, my parents are not very good at investing or talking about money, and it's very cliche and taboo, so I'm trying to sort of break those boundaries down with my family. And in having my mom come out here and live here, I think it'll be a lot better of an opportunity for her to actually get back on her feet. She currently lives in Ottawa, where the real estate market is absolutely crazy, so expensive, and the job market is just not very good. Most cities in Canada are having a lot of problems with this right now, with the real estate just going absolutely bonkers, and the rate of employment isn't really the best, but I really think that Calgary is a great spot if you want to accelerate your income very quickly. So once my mom is out here, if she decides that she doesn't really want to stay in that place long term, I am going to be renting it out just regularly on the market and becoming a landlord. And I think a lot of people in the community do go this route and just acquire a bunch of properties and rent them out, because once those mortgages are paid off, you're making quite a bit of passive, maybe not fully passive, but somewhat passive income, especially if you're hiring a company to actually manage those rental properties for you. I'm starting to diversify my portfolio a bit with real estate as well as individual stocks and index funds, because I think that diversifying really gives you the best opportunity to get ahead and to make quite a bit. Of course, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a professional accountant or financial advisor, so all of this advice and all the things I'm talking about are just my experience and my opinion. Reaching 100K last year was extremely exciting because I hit it about 2 years earlier than I had predicted. And now I'm already getting close to the $125,000 mark. So I can tell that hitting the next milestone of 200K is gonna come a lot quicker than the 6 years it took me to get to that first 100K. And that's mostly in compounding interest, of course, and also the fact that I am making a little bit more and just being a little bit wiser on where my money goes. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What are you guys currently investing in, and what are you finding success with? Are you guys getting into real estate? Are you interested in that? Are you going just through index funds, or are you more about picking individual stocks? Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys have an awesome day, and we'll chat next time. Bye.